Hello YouTube friends, this is Recovering Yankee, and I'm here to talk about tonight's appointed time, also known as Sukkote. It is the last of the 7 appointed times in the scriptures. The next one will be in the first month, known as Abib. It'll be when the barley is at the stage known as Abib. The month obviously is named after the stage of the barley, and that tells you when it's the first day of the month. Now, each festival, each of the appointed times has a meaning, I believe. I don't necessarily know the meaning of all the festivals. For instance, I have no idea what the meaning of Sukkote is. I know you're supposed to live in a temporary hut. They call it a booth in the Bible. I know you're supposed to have a pilgrimage sacrifice. A pilgrimage to Jerusalem. I know you're supposed to have a sacrifice. Now, obviously, we don't do sacrifices in this day and age because there's no priesthood. And also, I don't think the pilgrimage to Israel is required at this time. During the Messianic age, it will definitely be required. The Davidic Messianic age. And anyway, I don't know what the meaning of this festival is. Passover is obvious. It's freedom from slavery and removal, exiting the diaspora, leaving Egypt. Unleavened bread is possibly maybe something to do with sin. Sin spreads, like yeast spreads. Feast of Weeks, which is really a celebration of the harvest, the first harvest of the year. And then that's the 50 days after Passover. And unleavened bread starts the day after Passover. Passover is on the 14th day of the first month. And then on the first day of the 7th month is Yom Teruah, which is the festival of blowing the woodwind instruments. The Torah does not say what kind of instrument, but it says make a loud blast, blow, to blow. So obviously it's blowing, that means woodwind instrument. And the loudest wood, the most blastful, or the most, let's call it obnoxious sound is the trumpet, or a trombone. Or a shofar is pretty nice too. A fife is also a pretty good one to make a blast. And then, of course, on the 10th day of the 7th month is Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. And on the 15th to the 20th, for 7 days, 15 plus 7 is 22. On the 22nd, you have Sukkote. You're supposed to live in a temporary booth. Again, I don't know what the meaning of Sukkote is, so I just want to say one thing. If the festivals actually have a meaning, like I just stated, and I was clear that it was conjecture or assertion, then it is very clear that all the people of the world that are in the diaspora, in other words, those people that are part of Israel that are living in the world, will be called back to the land of Israel that was promised to Abraham. Not the Rothschild state of Israel, but the state of Israel that was promised to Abraham, which goes from the Nile River in Africa to the Euphrates River and between Iran and Iraq. So in other words, the entire Saudi Arabian Peninsula, along with the Sinai Peninsula, along with the eastern third of Africa, will be part of Israel. Now, since we're all in the diaspora, it's kind of like we're all in Egypt right now. So if you're an Israelite from all the 12 tribes, on a specific Passover, not necessarily this Passover, but it could be this Passover, the people of Israel will be recalled to the land of Israel. Again, I'm going to state I'm not giving a date. I don't know the date. The Almighty Adonai has not given me a date. However, on Passover is when we leave Egypt. This is our Egypt. So therefore, we will leave Egypt on a particular Passover. Not necessarily this Passover, but maybe this Passover. It could be a Passover in 5 years, or a Passover in 10 years, or Passover in 100 years, or Passover in 1,000 years. The people of Israel will come out of their diaspora on Passover. Let's hope that it's this year. And another thing to point out, the Torah of Moses, nowhere in the Torah of Moses, Hebrew, I'm not talking English, in the Hebrew text, there is not one single passage that says the phrase new moon. It says moon, it says month, Chodesh is month, and moon is Yara. So, I may not be pronouncing the moon properly, but moon is Yara, and month is Chodesh. So, the only moon that's described in the entire, I'm saying, out of every verse in the Tanakh, which is called the Old Testament, there's only one passage that states a description of the moon, and that is in Genesis 1:14 through 19. One of the words that is used to describe the moon in question, which starts the beginning of each month, is great or greater. The greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. The word great, according to the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, means magnificent with respect to size, power, and authority. Now, like I just said, there is not one single passage in the entire written Hebrew Tanakh that states sliver moon. There is a reason, I don't know the reason, but there is a reason why Christians honor the sliver moon, why rabbinic Jews honor the sliver moon, why Muslims honor the sliver moon. In this video, I don't want to say why I believe they honor that moon, but I'm just going to say that they picked that moon arbitrarily. So therefore, you have to go back to the Tanakh and get the text to tell you the answer. And since the text says that the moon is the greater, right? The moon is greater, meaning magnificent with respect to size, power, and authority. And the other functions of the moon that are in Genesis 1:14 through 19 is that it lights the earth. It has dominion over the earth at night. The sliver moon is barely visible. It does not provide light for the earth. The full moon rules over the night, and it provides light for the earth, and it's magnificent in size. The sliver moon is not magnificent in any way, shape, or form. It's a pipsqueak. So, I will let you decide which moon signifies the first day of the month. You can believe whatever you want. You could believe the half moon, or the three-quarter moon, or the quarter moon. The sliver moon, you can use the blank moon if you want. But if you want to follow what the written Torah says, then you'll go with the full moon. And I know that goes against what your church teaches in Christianity. I know that goes against what your rabbinic Judaism synagogue teaches. It doesn't matter if it goes against what they teach. It matters what the Torah says. If you exegete the Torah, you will find that the full moon is the only described moon. Remember, magnificent with respect to size, power, and authority, lights the earth, and has dominion over the night. I'm starting to have an allergic reaction. My right eye is starting to tear up. Anyway, so that is why my dates that I give for the various the various appointed times always are connected to the full moon. The full moon is found, obviously you know which day of the month it is. First way to start the year is you wait for the barley to become a bib. When the barley is a bib, the very next full moon is the first day of the year. 14 days later, you have Passover. A day later than that, you have unleavened bread. 50 days later or so, you have the Feast of Weeks, which is the first harvest. 7 months later, you have, not 7 months from the 50th day, which in English they call Pentecost, but 7 months from Passover is the first day of Yom Teruah. That's the first day of the 7th month. When the full moon occurs, that's when you have Yom Teruah. 10 days later, you have Yom Kippur, which is Atonement. And 5 days later, you have Sukkote. That's how I'm getting these dates, if you're wondering. That clearly means that those people, i.e. Christians and rabbinic Jews, that use the sliver moon to determine the first day of the month are incorrect. And it's a very easy study to do. Just translate Genesis 1, 14 through 19, and you'll see that what I'm saying is true. Do it yourself. Do the homework yourself. Don't just depend upon me. Look in the text, exegete the text, which means let the text speak for itself. You will see that the full moon is the moon they're referring to in Genesis 1, 14 through 19. It stands to reason that the only moon that is mentioned in the entire Tanakh and described is the full moon. Therefore, the full moon is the first day of the month. Thank you. Now, my son and I can't go out right now to show you the tent that we're going to be living in for the next 7 days, but because it's pouring rain right now. So tomorrow, when we're in the tent, I'm going to make a video of being in the tent. Now, in reality, the tent is in my backyard. I don't think that the Torah says live in a tent. It says a temporary hut. It doesn't give a description of the temporary hut. And to me, a tent is the best of the best with respect to temporary huts. So, I'm doing the best I can. I know some rabbinic Jewish people like to make the temporary hut out of leaves of different plants that grow in Israel, and lulavs, and that's one fruit that they put there, and another ezrog is another fruit. It's all fine and dandy. I have no idea where to get those, and guess what? I don't live in Israel. So I'm doing the best I can with what I have in America, which is a tent. Just like on Passover, I didn't have hyssop plant to put the blood on the doorpost. I use cotton walls. Do the best you can. The Almighty does not necessarily worry about the fact that you are using something that's not exactly what he wants, but close. I'm sure he's going, oh, well, I'm going to spank you and you're going to hell. No, I don't think that's the way he is. And I don't think the way he is where he has a magnifying glass and he's getting ready to punish you. All because you used cotton balls instead of hyssop. Or you're using a tent instead of some kind of building made out of material that grows in Israel. So, the Almighty is merciful, He's kind. He's not going to punish you for that reason. At least I don't think He is. Maybe He is. Maybe He's a meanie on the hill with a stick, but I doubt it. That's not what it says in the Torah. Okay, so, anyway, you do the best you can. You do the best you can. And I don't have those certain plants that are required by the rabbinic Jewish people. I don't know what plants they use are actually in the text or not. I haven't found them, but that doesn't mean they might have a tradition. And there's nothing wrong with traditions that are not contrary to the scriptures. Anyway, tonight is Sukkote, the first night, and it ends in 7 days. So enjoy your Sukkote. Have fun. Thank you.